Have you ever stood before a famous painting and felt that there was something more hiding behind the brushstrokes, something almost whispering a secret only to those who look closely enough? Art has always been more than a surface of colors and shapes. It is a mirror of culture, values, and the silent codes of history. From the Renaissance to the modern age, artists have not only portrayed beauty, but also embedded messages that continue to spark fascination and debate centuries later. What you're about to discover might surprise you, because many of the masterpieces we admire in museums around the world are far more than they appear at first glance. They are puzzles, riddles, and encrypted stories, waiting for someone with a curious eye to unlock them. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Think about this for a moment. If art is a reflection of human thought, emotion, and culture, wouldn't it make sense that some of humanity's deepest mysteries might be hiding in plain sight, inside paintings and sculptures we thought we knew? Stay with me until the end, because we're about to journey into a world where every stroke, every symbol, and every shadow may hold a message far beyond what meets the eye. Has this ever happened to you? Standing before a masterpiece and feeling there was something just beneath the surface, almost as if the canvas itself was alive with secrets. Throughout history, painters have been more than mere observers of life. They were visionaries, philosophers, and sometimes rebels who used their canvases as coded diaries. In their time, censorship, religion, or politics often forced them to disguise their true ideas. But instead of silencing their thoughts, they transformed their art into a labyrinth of symbols, letters, hidden figures, and even entire stories invisible to the casual glance. A gesture, a reflection in a mirror, or a distorted figure could carry meanings that challenged society, questioned authority, or revealed personal obsessions. And while centuries have passed, the codes remain alive, waiting for us to decipher them. Imagine entering a gallery, your eyes drifting over portraits and landscapes, unaware that behind those painted smiles or serene skies, an entirely different narrative is unfolding. What looks like a simple background could in fact contain the likeness of the artist, a secret message, or even a distorted symbol meant only for the initiated to understand. What if the art you thought you knew best, masterpieces admired by millions, was actually filled with hidden knowledge? Stay with me until the end, because once you learn to look differently, you'll never see these paintings in the same way again. And here lies the true power of art. It doesn't just decorate a wall or please the eye, it challenges us, makes us question, and often reveals truths we were not ready to hear. Some of the world's most iconic works are not merely depictions of religious scenes, portraits, or mythological stories. They are coded reflections of human genius, daring to preserve secrets through color, light, and form. Has this ever happened to you? That sudden realization that a painting might be telling you something the rest of the world overlooked? We're stepping into a realm where the brush becomes a pen, the canvas becomes a manuscript, and every detail can change the way we interpret history itself. What you're about to discover might not only transform the way you look at art, but also the way you perceive the hidden depths of human creativity. And just when you think you've uncovered one secret, another layer reveals itself, proving that the greatest masterpieces are inexhaustible wells of mystery. So, open your eyes, sharpen your curiosity, and prepare yourself for revelations that go far beyond aesthetics. Because the journey into the secrets of art is only beginning, and what lies ahead will draw you deeper into the unseen world painted by the masters. If you enjoy exploring hidden truths, powerful ideas, and thought-provoking stories like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll always be part of this journey of discovery, and every new video will bring you something valuable to reflect on. When we look at Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper, it's easy to be captivated by the immediate drama of the scene, the tense moment when Jesus reveals that one of his disciples will betray him. Yet, beyond the surface, this painting seems to hold a hidden truth that goes far deeper than religious storytelling. Some researchers argue that the positioning of hands, loaves of bread, and gestures of the apostles form not just a visual rhythm, but an actual musical composition, like a secret score carefully disguised in the flow of the table. It's almost as if Da Vinci wanted to remind us that art and music, faith and science all belong to the same great symphony of human expression. This idea transforms the way we see the painting. Instead of a frozen moment in time, the Last Supper becomes a living performance, one that carries echoes of sound and harmony through lines and symbols. Imagine the mindset of Da Vinci as he painted. His decisions weren't just artistic, they were coded revelations, a behind-the-scenes weaving of disciplines that most of us rarely connect. He wasn't content to simply capture expressions or arrange figures. He wanted to push us into a journey where meaning unfolds layer after layer. Of course, speculation has also swirled around the identities in the painting, particularly the figure beside Jesus. The Da Vinci Code popularized the notion that this disciple was not John, but Mary Magdalene, a symbol of feminine presence and balance erased from much of recorded history. While historians often reject this interpretation, dismissing it as imagination stretched too far, the very fact that the theory exists shows how powerful hidden suggestions in art can be. It demonstrates the impact of ambiguity, how a single brushstroke or softened feature can ignite centuries of debate. And then, there's the discovery by an Oxford researcher who claimed that Da Vinci left behind a 40-second melody coded into the arrangement of elements on the table. When transcribed and played, the notes created something hauntingly beautiful, an echo from the past that feels almost like Da Vinci himself whispering across time. It is in these details that his genius shines most. Not in the obvious, but in the unexpected. Not in what is declared, but in what is suggested. This is where the transformation begins for us as viewers. Once you realize that a painting can contain layers of hidden messages, mathematical patterns, symbolic gestures, even music, you start to look differently at every masterpiece. It changes your perspective, almost like a shift in mindset, opening doors to interpretations that go beyond aesthetics and into the realm of human psychology, philosophy, and imagination. Art becomes less of a static image and more of a journey into the unknown. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because The Last Supper is just one of many examples where artists left traces of their thoughts, secrets, and visions beneath the visible. These revelations are not coincidences. They are intentional decisions, crafted to test the eye, challenge the mind, and invite us into a dialogue that stretches across centuries. The impact of discovering these codes is not only historical, but personal. What we uncover in these works often reflects something within ourselves, a curiosity, a search for meaning, a hunger for the unseen. And perhaps that is the true reason these masterpieces still resonate so strongly. They force us to question what lies beneath appearances, reminding us that the greatest treasures often hide in plain sight. To keep this reflection alive, write in the comments, "This makes sense to me." Share it if the idea of uncovering hidden layers in art awakens something in you, because your words will show how many others are also on this path of discovery. When you stand before Van Gogh's cafe terrace at night, you might think it is just a charming evening scene. A warm glow spilling across cobblestones, people gathered at tables, the night sky above. But behind the familiar strokes of blue and yellow, some art historians suggest there is a hidden truth, a deliberate echo of Da Vinci's The Last Supper. Look closer. In the center of the canvas, a figure in white is surrounded by 12 others, and one figure sinks into the shadow in a way that immediately recalls the role of Judas. This reading transforms the painting from a casual depiction of nightlife into a symbolic reinterpretation of one of the most famous biblical moments in history. It reminds us that even an artist known for his raw emotion and turbulent mind may have been weaving coded stories, connecting his vision to a much older tradition of embedding meaning beneath the visible. Now shift your gaze to another enigma that has stirred centuries of fascination, the Mona Lisa. Few works of art carry such an aura of mystery, and yet the secrets seem endless. Theories swirl around her delicate pose, the way her hands rest protectively across her body, the faint veil covering her shoulders. Some scholars suggest these details point to pregnancy, while others see them as symbols of status or convention. But the real intrigue lies not in the surface of her expression, but in what modern science has uncovered behind the scenes. Italian researcher Silvano Vincetti discovered microscopic letters and numbers hidden in her eyes, tiny, nearly imperceptible marks that resist casual observation. The initials L and S appear faintly, perhaps standing for Leonardo himself, and the powerful Sforza dynasty of Milan, tying the painting to political influence and hidden alliances. And then there is the number 72, a detail that opens an entirely new layer of symbolism. For some, it represents creation itself, 7 days shaping the world, 2 symbolizing duality, man and woman, light and darkness. For others, it hints at numerological codes, messages that Da Vinci may have intended only for those who dared to look beyond what was obvious. What makes this discovery so powerful is not simply the possibility of secret codes, but the mindset it invites us into. Suddenly, the Mona Lisa is no longer just a portrait of an enigmatic woman. It becomes a portal into a network of hidden truths, decisions made centuries ago that still ripple into our present. Each detail carries impact, a glance, a number, a subtle veil, all forming part of a larger tapestry that challenges us to see art not as a frozen image, but as a living message. These revelations invite us on a journey into the artist's mind, behind the scenes of history itself, where beauty, politics, philosophy, and secrecy intertwine in ways most viewers never imagine. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because if Van Gogh and Da Vinci concealed such layers of meaning in their works, imagine what other masterpieces might be silently guarding beneath their paint. To carry this curiosity forward, write in the comments, "I'm also on this path." Your words will reveal how many of us are drawn to uncover what lies beneath the surface, united by the same search for meaning. John van Eyck's Arnolfini portrait is often admired for its meticulous detail, the folds of fabric, the delicate light pouring through the window, the quiet dignity of a couple immortalized in paint. But the true transformation in how we see this work comes from what waits in the background. A small convex mirror on the wall reflects more than the room. It reveals 2 additional figures entering the scene, one of whom many believe to be Van Eyck himself. Above that mirror, written carefully in Latin, are the words "Jan van Eyck was here," as if the artist wanted to sign not only his name, but his very presence into the moment. It is a revelation that shifts the painting from a mere portrait of 2 to a layered narrative, where the artist silently inserts himself into the history of his subjects, altering our mindset about what portraiture really means. Holbein takes us down a different path in The Ambassadors. At first glance, the painting dazzles with its richness. 2 men in luxurious attire, surrounded by instruments of science, navigation, and culture. It's a grand celebration of knowledge and status. But then your eyes fall to the bottom of the canvas, where a strange, distorted shape seems out of place. Tilt your head, and suddenly the hidden truth emerges. It is a skull, elongated and warped, an unmistakable reminder of mortality. This behind-the-scenes detail cuts through the illusion of power and wealth, forcing us to confront the fleeting nature of life. It's a decision by Holbein that creates impact beyond the beauty of the image. It becomes a meditation on existence itself, one that lingers in the mind long after the colors fade. Then, centuries later, Picasso approached his art with a different kind of layering. The old guitarist, painted during his blue period, already carries the weight of sorrow and fragility in its somber tones. But modern technology revealed something even deeper. Beneath the visible guitarist lies the portrait of a woman, hidden and nearly lost to time. It's as though one story was buried to make room for another, a reminder that creation often demands sacrifice, that every masterpiece carries within it the traces of past decisions and abandoned visions. This discovery is more than a technical revelation. It speaks to the very journey of art, where nothing is ever truly erased, only transformed. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because these examples show us how every canvas is not just an image, but a layered dialogue between the artist, their era, and their inner world. To keep this reflection alive, write in the comments, Hidden layers reveal hidden truths. Share it if you feel that art, like life itself, often conceals more than it shows, waiting for the right moment to be uncovered. John Singer Sargent's Madame X is a perfect example of how a single detail can shift the destiny of a painting and its creator. At first, he painted the elegant figure of Virginie Amélie with one strap of her black dress, slipping sensually off her shoulder, a subtle gesture that in today's world might seem almost innocent. But in Parisian society of the late 19th century, that small choice was seen as a scandal, a reckless decision that risked Sargent's reputation. The criticism was so fierce that he was forced to repaint the strap firmly back into place. What remains on the canvas now is the version society allowed to exist, while the original lingers like a ghost beneath the surface. It is a revelation of how mindset and cultural boundaries can shape art, dictating what is acceptable and what must be erased, reminding us that behind every masterpiece lies not only the artist's intention, but also the weight of the world judging it. Then, in Hendrik van Anthenissen's view of Scheveningen Beach, the hidden truth lay in plain sight for centuries, covered not by censorship, but by time itself. Visitors to the painting saw a quiet coastal scene, unaware that a stranded whale was lying at the heart of the image, concealed beneath layers of yellowed varnish. For over 140 years, the central drama of the painting remained invisible, until careful restoration peeled back the surface to reveal what had always been there. It is a journey into how history itself can obscure meaning, and how the impact of art can change entirely depending on what is visible. What once seemed ordinary was transformed into a spectacle of tragedy and awe, reminding us that discoveries often wait silently until the right moment to emerge. Botticelli's Primavera offers another kind of hidden richness, not in what was removed or concealed, but in what was meticulously added. The canvas blooms with life, each flower and leaf painted with such precision that modern botanists have identified over 500 distinct species. It is as if Botticelli sought to capture the very essence of transformation that spring embodies, the rebirth of nature, the renewal of the earth, the delicate balance between beauty and fertility. Behind the scenes of this work lies not only aesthetic mastery, but also scientific observation, a blending of art and natural knowledge that feels almost timeless. To look at Primavera is to step into a garden of coded symbolism, where every petal carries a story, every plant a meaning, and together they create a symphony of abundance that celebrates the continuity of life. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because these layers show us that art is never just what it seems. Each canvas is a reflection of choices, pressures, and revelations that shape its destiny. To keep this exploration alive, write in the comments. Every detail tells a story. Share it if you believe that meaning often hides in the smallest details, waiting for the right eyes to uncover it. Caravaggio's Bacchus may seem at first like a straightforward celebration of indulgence, wine, youth, and the seduction of excess captured in rich tones. Yet hidden in the surface of a simple wine jug, almost invisible to the naked eye, lies a tiny reflection. Through modern imaging, scholars discovered what appears to be Caravaggio's own likeness, a miniature self-portrait tucked into the glimmer of glass. It is a revelation that shifts our perception of the work entirely. Suddenly, the scene is no longer just a mythological figure posed for admiration. It becomes a secret encounter with the artist himself, watching from behind the scenes, embedding his presence in the midst of symbolism. That decision to hide himself in plain sight speaks to Caravaggio's restless spirit, the mindset of someone who knew that art could carry layers of truth far beyond what the world expected to see. Johannes Vermeer also played with subtle codes in The Music Lesson. On the surface, we see a young woman practicing at her instrument, her posture composed, her back to the viewer. But the mirror above her does not simply reflect her dedication. It reveals something more intimate. A man, her instructor, stands close, their proximity charged with an unspoken tension. Through this delicate decision, Vermeer creates an atmosphere where music becomes more than melody. It becomes metaphor, a quiet dialogue of attraction disguised as a lesson. This is where art transforms from depiction to storytelling, leaving us to wonder about the hidden truth of relationships, the emotions that remain unsaid yet linger in the air like an unresolved chord. And then there is Ghirlandaio's Madonna with Child and St. John, a Renaissance vision of divine serenity that seems at first to follow the expected traditions of its time. Yet in the background something interrupts the calm, a small flying object in the sky. To some, it is nothing more than a symbolic angel, but to others it has become a striking piece of evidence in the long journey of UFO speculation. The image has fueled theories of ancient encounters, sparking debates that cross from art into science, from devotion into curiosity about what lies beyond our world. Whether one sees it as sacred symbolism or a glimpse into hidden truths about the universe, its impact is undeniable. It transforms the painting into a conversation, not just about faith, but about the mysteries of existence itself. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because these discoveries show us how every masterpiece is not just an artifact of beauty, but a layered story, carrying coded revelations about human desire, curiosity, and the unknown. To keep the reflection alive, write in the comments, "I believe in hidden signs." Let it be a way of showing how many of us feel drawn to uncover the unseen threads that connect art, history, and imagination. Caravaggio's Supper at Emmaus is one of those works where the ordinary becomes extraordinary the moment you notice what is hiding in the details. At first, the composition looks like a simple depiction of a sacred meal, rich with gestures and expressions that draw you into the drama of recognition between Christ and his disciples. But beneath the basket of fruit, a shadow appears, subtle, almost invisible unless you know where to look. That shadow takes the shape of a fish's tail, an unmistakable allusion to the miracle of loaves and fishes. It is a quiet reminder that the visible story is only half the truth, that faith and symbolism often travel in layers. This hidden sign transforms the painting into more than a moment of recognition. It becomes a coded bridge to earlier miracles, a journey through memory and belief embedded in a single stroke of paint. Georges Seurat, on the other hand, placed himself directly into his art before deciding otherwise. In Young Woman, Powdering Herself, what we see today is a graceful figure of Madeleine Knobloch, his companion, caught in a moment of intimacy and elegance. Yet originally, in the corner where now hangs a floral still life, Seurat painted his own face watching from the background. A friend warned him it looked unsettling, like a hidden witness intruding into her private moment. The decision to cover his self-portrait reveals not just an artistic correction, but a mindset, an inner conflict about presence and distance, intimacy and exposure. Even erased, the ghost of his face lingers as part of the work's story, a hidden truth beneath layers of paint that speaks of vulnerability and human complexity. Then there is Michelangelo's David, a sculpture so iconic that its very image feels eternal. For centuries, visitors gazed upward at the towering figure, struck by the calm confidence on his face. But researchers at Stanford, studying the statue from different vantage points, discovered something astonishing. The expression changes depending on where you stand. From below, David looks serene, almost fearless. Yet when viewed from a higher angle, his features reveal tension, concentration, even the flicker of anxiety before battle. It is a revelation about perspective, a reminder that truth itself can shift based on position and perception. Michelangelo carved into marble not just a hero, but the duality of human experience, the balance between courage and fear, serenity and determination. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because these discoveries show how every artistic decision can alter the impact of a work, creating a dialogue not only with its own time, but with every future viewer who stands before it. To carry this reflection further, write in the comments, "Perspective changes everything." Share it if you've ever felt that shifting your point of view revealed a hidden meaning you hadn't seen before. Hieronymus Bosch's Garden of Earthly Delights is already a labyrinth of strange figures, surreal creatures, and symbols that defy easy explanation. Yet among its countless details lies something that connects art to music in an almost uncanny way. On the body of a sinner, sprawled beneath an enormous instrument, researchers found what appears to be a tattoo of musical notation. For centuries it remained nothing more than an odd decoration, but when transcribed into modern notation, it became a melody, haunting, unsettling, and strangely fitting for the chaotic vision Bosch painted. It is as if the canvas itself was always meant to be heard as much as seen, a hidden truth encoded in ink and color, now given voice centuries later. This detail reveals not just Bosch's imagination, but his mindset, weaving together visual storytelling and sound into one immersive journey of human folly and temptation. Botticelli's Birth of Venus takes us in another direction, though no less rich in symbolism. The goddess stands poised on a seashell, carried by the waves, her beauty luminous and unashamed. For many, it is simply a celebration of divine femininity, but beneath the surface lies deeper meaning. That shell has long been read as a metaphor for fertility, its curved lines an unmistakable reference to the source of life itself. Botticelli made a decision here that was both bold and transformative, representing not just myth, but the eternal cycle of birth, creation, and renewal. Behind the scenes of its delicate lines and soft colors rests a daring suggestion that beauty is not ornamental, but fundamental, a force tied to continuity and survival. This interpretation shifts our perspective, reminding us that art often conceals truths about existence too profound to be spoken directly. And then comes Salvador Dalí, whose surreal world has always blurred the line between dream and reality. The persistence of memory, with its melting clocks draped across barren landscapes, is one of the most iconic images of the 20th century. Many assumed these distorted watches were Dalí's visual response to Einstein's theory of relativity, a reflection on the elasticity of time and perception. Yet Dalí himself confessed to a different source of inspiration altogether: Camembert cheese left too long in the sun. It is a revelation that almost feels like a provocation, as if Dalí wanted to remind us that genius often arises from the most ordinary, even humorous decisions. But perhaps this is where his brilliance lies: the ability to transform something mundane into a universal symbol, a reminder of how fragile and malleable time can feel in the human experience. The impact of this revelation is powerful because it challenges us to reconsider where inspiration truly comes from and how hidden truths can emerge from the simplest observations. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because each of these works shows us that meaning in art is never singular. It is layered, contradictory, and alive, shaped both by the artist's choices and by the interpretations we bring centuries later. To keep this thought alive, write in the comments: inspiration hides everywhere. Share it if you believe that even the smallest details in life can hold the potential to spark something extraordinary. When you stand before Van Gogh's Starry Night, it is easy to be carried away by the dreamlike swirls that fill the sky, as though the night itself were alive with motion. But modern science has shown us that these shapes are not only imaginative, they mirror the mathematics of turbulence. The same chaotic patterns seen in the movement of fluids, clouds, and even distant cosmic dust. It is astonishing to think that an artist wrestling with inner turmoil could, through instinct and emotion, capture truths that physics would later confirm. This revelation transforms the painting from a vision of beauty into a coded reflection of the universe itself, a reminder that creativity often reveals what reason only later understands. The hidden truths of Van Gogh's art do not end there. Beneath the quiet simplicity of Patch of Grass, X-ray studies uncovered a woman's portrait, her face resting in silence beneath layers of green. Van Gogh, struggling with resources and urgency, often reused canvases, but the decision to cover one life with another speaks to more than practicality. It suggests a journey of transformation, of choices made in moments of constraint, and of the impact of creation itself, how one story must sometimes be sacrificed so another can emerge. These ghostly figures beneath his works remind us that art, like life, is filled with abandoned paths and hidden beginnings, each one part of the larger narrative even when unseen. And then we encounter Rembrandt, whose self-portraits remain some of the most striking in history. His gaze is unflinching, his features rendered with precision that feels almost photographic centuries before photography existed. For years, scholars wondered how he achieved such mastery, and recent studies suggest he may have used curved mirrors and lenses to refine his technique. This behind-the-scenes revelation shows not only genius, but also an inventive mindset, one that blurred the line between art and science, decision and discovery. It was not only his brush that shaped his work, but also his willingness to experiment, to use tools in pursuit of greater truth. In this way, Rembrandt's portraits are more than reflections of himself. They are records of curiosity, of a relentless search for accuracy, and of an artist unafraid to step beyond tradition in his journey toward perfection. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because these insights remind us that art is not a static image frozen in time, but a dialogue between intuition, invention, and revelation. To carry this thought further, write in the comments, "Genius hides in the details." Share it if you believe that the greatest impact often comes from what lies just beneath the surface, waiting for those willing to look closer. Edgar Degas, like Van Gogh, often returned to his canvases not only to save materials, but also to reinvent his ideas. Beneath the surface of one of his later works, modern technology revealed a forgotten portrait of Emma d'Aubigny, a model who inspired many artists of the 19th century. What is striking here is not only the hidden face itself, but what it represents: a decision, a transformation where one vision was buried so another could take its place. Behind the scenes of the final image lies an intimate trace of what could have been, a reminder that every masterpiece carries within it a history of choices, revisions, and sacrifices. It is almost like hearing two voices in one artwork, the silent presence of Emma, and the louder statement of the painting that covered her. This layered reality invites us to consider how creation often demands letting go, and how even erased stories leave their impact. From Degas we move to Peter Bruegel, whose Netherlandish Proverbs is less about erasure and more about revelation. At first glance, it looks like a busy village scene filled with people going about their lives, but the longer you look, the more you realize it is a living encyclopedia of human behavior. Bruegel illustrated dozens of sayings, from the absurd to the profound: a man with the world upside down, another armed to the teeth, a fish devouring a smaller one. Each proverb becomes a visual riddle, reminding us that wisdom, folly, and contradiction define our shared journey. The impact of this painting lies not just in its humor, but in its enduring truth. Centuries later, these expressions still make sense, as if Bruegel anticipated the persistence of human nature across time. It is a coded map of collective experience, captured in brush and pigment, waiting for viewers to decode. Then there is Giotto, whose fresco in Assisi hides something entirely unexpected. Among the serene clouds above a holy scene, restorers discovered the faint outline of a devil's face, unnoticed for more than 700 years. Why Giotto placed it there remains uncertain, perhaps a symbolic warning about temptation, or a playful act of rebellion that only the most attentive would ever notice. This hidden truth alters how we experience the work. What once seemed purely sacred suddenly contains an unsettling presence, proof that even in depictions of divinity, the shadow of darkness is never far away. It is a revelation that changes our mindset, reminding us that light and shadow, good and evil, beauty and fear are always intertwined, both in art and in life. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because each of these discoveries shows us how the surface of art is only the beginning of the journey. To carry this reflection forward, write in the comments, "Every canvas has two stories." Share it if you believe that what we see is never the whole truth, and that hidden layers often shape the way we truly understand the world. The Sistine Chapel is often remembered for its grandeur, for the sweeping beauty of Michelangelo's vision across the ceiling, but the hidden truths within its frescoes reveal a mind that was as much scientist as artist. In the creation of Adam, God's flowing cloak, draped and curved in a seemingly natural way, takes on the unmistakable outline of a human brain. This is no coincidence. Michelangelo, who had studied anatomy in secret by dissecting cadavers, wove his knowledge into the very fabric of divine imagery. The impact of this choice is striking. It suggests that God is not only bestowing life upon Adam, but also the gift of consciousness, intelligence, and thought. It transforms the scene from a religious tableau into a statement about the essence of human potential, connecting spirituality to intellect. In one breathtaking moment, as we move across the ceiling, the revelations continue. In another section, the face of God subtly mirrors the shape of a spinal cord, again fusing divine imagery with the structure of the human body. Here, the symbolism is layered and deliberate. The connection between heaven and humanity is not only spiritual, but anatomical, suggesting that knowledge itself is a sacred bridge. Michelangelo's decisions show us a mindset that refused to separate art from science, faith from inquiry. Instead, he embedded anatomy into theology, turning the ceiling into a dialogue between body and soul. Behind the scenes of this masterpiece lies the genius of a man who saw no contradiction in blending the sacred with the rational, the eternal with the tangible. And then, almost hidden among the angels and prophets, one discovers a detail that feels almost playful, even rebellious. A cherub makes a hand gesture that, in Michelangelo's time, was considered an insult, something akin to our modern offensive signs. To place such a gesture within a holy work commissioned by the Pope was bold, if not audacious. It is interpreted as a veiled act of defiance, a quiet rebellion coded into paint. This small irreverence reminds us that, even within grand commissions meant to glorify authority, artists found ways to leave traces of their true feelings. It's a revelation about power, resistance, and the choices artists made to assert their individuality, even under watchful eyes. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because these discoveries show us that every masterpiece is more than an image. It is a coded negotiation between authority, knowledge, and personal truth. To carry this reflection further, write in the comments, "Knowledge is hidden in plain sight." Share it if you believe that what we call beauty often carries within it a deeper message waiting to be uncovered. The hidden layers scattered across history's greatest masterpieces remind us that artists were never simply decorating walls or creating pleasant images for admiration. They were weaving coded messages, embedding truths that challenge us to look deeper. Every subtle gesture, every shadow or reflection, was an invitation to those with the patience to see beyond the obvious. This is the essence of art's transformation. It is not static but alive, shifting each time we uncover another layer of meaning. These revelations prove that the surface beauty is only the beginning, a doorway into an entire world of symbolism and intention that stretches far beyond what the eye first perceives. When we begin to notice these secrets, something shifts in our mindset. A simple portrait is no longer just a depiction of a sitter. It becomes a puzzle, where the smallest overlooked detail can alter the entire story. What once seemed clear takes on ambiguity, and that ambiguity is where art gains its power. The brilliance of creativity lies not only in skill, but in the ability to hide meaning in plain sight, trusting that one day someone would stumble upon it and see the work anew. This behind-the-scenes strategy reveals a truth about human expression. We have always sought ways to communicate beyond words, to encode our ideas and preserve them in forms that outlast time. What makes this even more fascinating is how modern technology has become part of the journey. With X-rays, infrared scans, and digital imaging, we are peeling back the layers of history, literally, uncovering what was once invisible. Faces emerge beneath brushstrokes, sketches appear behind finished lines, and symbols long concealed return to view. These discoveries are more than technical marvels. They are revelations that reshape our understanding of entire periods, decisions, and even the personalities of the artists themselves. They remind us that progress is not only about moving forward but also about looking back with new tools, finding hidden truths that change the impact of stories. We thought we already knew. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic because each restored detail and uncovered secret proves that art is not a closed book, but a living dialogue, one that continues to evolve as our perception and technology evolve with it. To carry this reflection further, write in the comments. The past still speaks. Share it if you believe that history always finds a way to reveal itself when we are ready to listen. Each new discovery doesn't just add another detail to the pages of art history. It reshapes the entire narrative, showing us that the past is never fixed, but alive with mysteries still waiting to surface. A single restored stroke, a symbol decoded centuries later, can transform our perception of an artist's intentions and the era they lived in. It is a powerful reminder that knowledge itself is never complete. It evolves, expanding with every revelation we allow ourselves to see. The journey of uncovering these hidden truths is much like peeling back layers of our own understanding, challenging our mindset and opening us to perspectives that were once invisible. The layered symbolism woven into these works speaks of genius that is both personal and universal. Behind the scenes, painters poured fragments of themselves into their art, beliefs, fears, ambitions, even subtle acts of rebellion, and yet they also encoded truths that speak to all humanity. That duality is what gives these masterpieces their impact. They are not just records of individual lives but mirrors reflecting timeless human experiences. The transformation they spark within us comes from this blend of intimacy and universality, as though each brushstroke were designed to bridge the gap between the artist's world and our own. And still, the meaning of art does not rest solely in the hand of the creator. Every viewer carries their own history, their own questions, their own way of seeing. What one person interprets as sacred might feel playful or even subversive to another. These secrets remind us that truth is not rigid but fluid, shaped by perception, context, and time. A symbol ignored for centuries might suddenly reveal its importance in a new era, proving that art is a dialogue rather than a monologue. It is a journey of constant reinterpretation, where the impact of the work depends not only on what was intended, but also on what is discovered by the beholder. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic, because when we realize that meaning is co-created between artist and audience, we begin to understand art not as a finished product, but as an ongoing conversation. To carry this thought forward, write in the comments, "I see meaning in the details." Share it if you've ever felt that a hidden sign, a small gesture, or even your own interpretation revealed something powerful that others might have overlooked. These revelations invite us into a different kind of relationship with art, one that goes beyond admiration and enters into dialogue. To truly engage with a masterpiece is to step into its secret language, to recognize that every shadow, every reflection, every unusual choice might be part of a coded message. It is not about searching for a single hidden truth, but about opening ourselves to the possibility that meaning is layered, that what we see on the surface is only the beginning of a deeper journey. When we allow ourselves to look with this mindset, art becomes less of an object and more of an experience, something that grows and transforms with each new discovery. The fascination with hidden codes is not accidental, nor is it fleeting. It speaks to something timeless in us, a desire to uncover what lies behind the scenes, to find the impact of secrets carefully woven into beauty. Great art survives the centuries not only because of its technical brilliance, but because it holds within it an endless supply of questions. A painting we thought we understood can, in an instant, shift into something new when a restoration reveals a forgotten layer, or when fresh eyes notice a symbol overlooked for generations. This is what makes art alive. It never stops speaking, and it never stops surprising us. The enduring power of these masterpieces is their refusal to give us closure. Instead, they keep us returning again and again, because each encounter feels different. In one moment we are dazzled by beauty. In another, we are unsettled by a hidden gesture. In yet another, we are moved by the realization that the canvas is speaking not only about its own time, but about ours as well. That is the hidden truth of timeless art. It does not age, because its language is universal, always ready to reveal something new to those willing to listen. Now I want to go even deeper into this topic because when we recognize that art's mysteries are inexhaustible, we begin to see not just paintings or sculptures, but living texts filled with revelations still waiting for us. To carry this reflection forward, write in the comments, "Art never stops speaking." Share it if you too feel that each encounter with beauty has the power to reveal something unexpected and transformative. If you've stayed with me until now, I think it's safe to say this journey through hidden meanings and secret details has sparked something in you, just as it has in me while telling these stories. That's exactly why I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel, so you don't miss out on the kind of insights that keep opening doors to new perspectives and unexpected revelations. And since you made it all the way to the end, let's make it our little signal. Drop a comment saying, "I'm with you until the end." It'll be our way of knowing who really dives deep into these mysteries. If this exploration resonated with you, a simple like on the video goes a long way. It shows me that these hidden truths are connecting with you and encourages me to keep uncovering more. And if your curiosity is still buzzing, there's a video right here that complements this topic beautifully. Click and continue with me over there.